Hi everybody, this is Hero from the Birds back with another Shadowlands video, and in this video I'm looking at SHADOWBOLT Affliction Lock. Let's get into it. So, there are a couple pieces in our kit that can make SHADOWBOLT hit like an absolute truck, like the TBC days. And the following pieces, when you put them all together, make for some pretty awesome gameplay if you like spamming SHADOWBOLT. Malefic Wrath as a legendary. What this is going to do is make our Malefic Rapture cast buff our SHADOWBOLT. We also have a Necrolord, the Unity Belt for Necrolord, which is giving our Decimating Bolt casts a guaranteed 100% crit bonus to the next 3 Shadowbolts we cast, and bonus crit damage. So those do some massive damage. Also, we're looking at conduits. The Withering Bolt conduit is going to make it so that the bolt's damage is amplified by the dots we have on the target. And finally, we're going to look at some talent choices that help to maximize this. Nightfall being the main one, giving our casts a chance, our corruption ticks a chance to generate 50% bonus and instant cast Shadowbolts. When you put this all together, guys, it makes for a pretty amazing combination and huge Shadowbolt damage. I think the last one I just did here, it was something like 50k Shadowbolts. Yes, it's 50k Shadowbolts, and we are in 260 gear with bad stats on the PTR. So, how does this work? What are we making use of here? The main thing, guys, we are doing is this is a funnel build, a full funnel build, and this scales with targets like you wouldn't believe. Funnel means the following: you are using off targets to generate resources for you, and then you are taking those resources and you're firing it into a priority target. You can generate and funnel in 2 different ways with this build. First of all, we're funneling with our casts of Corruption. Corruption casts are going to give us access to buffed Shadowbolts that are instant. So the more corruptions we have on various targets, the more often we will get Nightfall procs. Secondly, our Agony is natural funnel for the use of Soul Shards. So the more Agonies we have out on the targets, the more Soul Shard generation we're going to get. All of those work together with our 2-piece and our 4-piece to make it so that we can extend our funnel without any hassle at all. So even on 5 or 6 targets, you can make your dots last 50 seconds long without ever paying attention to them after you've applied them. You just dot them all with Agony, maybe it's AoE and you fire a seed off, and then you turn your attention to the priority target, and all of those dots are going to get extended because of the way the 2-piece and the 4-piece work together. The 4-piece is especially nice here as we scale this back down to minimal targets, so 2 or 3 targets, because it means that we're going to have access to more free soul shards with our Malefic Rapture casts. One other note to make as far as scaling our Shadowbolt, because we're in Necrolord, as Decimating Bolt hits a target, it calculates what the percentage HP of that target is, and then it uses that to scale the next 3 Shadowbolts you cast. So a target at 100% health will just give you a 100% bonus to Shadowbolt. A target at 50% health will give your next 3 Shadowbolts 1.5 or 150% bonus damage. And then if it's really close to being dead, it's something like 195% bonus damage. What does this mean? Well, in addition to funneling with Corruption and with Agony, you can also snipe and therefore kind of do a funnel of Decimating Bolt on a low HP target, and it doesn't matter that you cast your Shadowbolt also on that low HP target. You just need to snipe it with Decimating Bolt, and then your next Shadowbolt will be buffed with that huge damage bonus. So my plan is to use this combination of things once I get access to double legendaries and finish my 4-piece on live, to use this in 2 and 3 target cleave, because you get, after 3 targets, you get a nice intake of resources from your funnel, and you can maintain it the whole time. As far as talents are concerned, I've gone with Creeping Death to maximize the ticks from our funnel. You could do Soul Conduit, but it doesn't really feed our Shadowbolts quite the same way. What this is doing is allowing our corruptions to tick more often. I'm also taking Absolute Corruption. You think, why would you do that? Your 4-piece is extending Corruption. It is, but it also creates this subtle problem in our gameplay loop where we are having to refresh Corruption a little bit more often than we'd like to. The funnel breaks down in part. So you don't need to do Absolute Corruption, but one of the benefits of doing it is you can just ignore all of the corruption portion of your funnel. You never have to cast another seed after you fire the first one off. You don't have to multi-dot targets that are really far away again. Like say in Prototype Pantheon, when they change places, when they come back, you're fine, or you're just dotting them up, and you can focus all of your attention on the Shadowbolts. Let me show you what it looks like in a multi-target scenario. So let's just do 2 targets so that we're not getting too carried away. You can see here in 263 gear, we're going to open with our Unstable Affliction. We're going to put up our little farm here on the side. Then we'll get our main dots on the main target and go to town. And what we're trying to do is to manage our Nightfall procs to line them up as much as possible with Decimating Bolt. That doesn't mean you hold them, but it does mean you might prefer to cast a few more Malefic Wraths just to see if you have a few more seconds to generate a Nightfall proc before you go ham. And we'll hold Decimating Bolt for a few seconds in the opener just to see if we can get some Nightfall procs. Anyways, enough talking. Here's how we do it. Open here, get our farm on that side, get our main dots here. We'll get our Phantom Singularity out and extend it. Then we'll cast Malefic Wrath 3 times. And you can see the buff there. I'm going to cast a couple more times so I can have a second to see if we get a Shadowbolt for free. We didn't. There's a Nightfall. And then we'll cast another Malefic Wrath to see if we get another one. We did not. So there's some Nightfall procs there. Now we just fill with Shadowbolt, and you just cast giant Shadowbolts at this target. And again, as it ticks down, and you can imagine this is some other off target. Oh, I just let it fall off. See, we don't want to do that. As it ticks down, what we're looking to do is snipe a target with Decimating Bolt. And for the purposes of this test, I'll do it on the main target. But if this is your boss and there was some other off target, you could consider doing it on that off target to get maximum damage. We hold Singularity until we get Decimating Bolt because it's going to add damage to our bolts. So what we're looking for now, because we have it back up, is we're looking to cast Malefic Wrath, make sure we have our dots up, and then cast our bolts to follow, trying to gain those Nightfall procs. We didn't get any here. There goes one. Oh, we got another cast, so we'll do 2 of these first and see if we can get another. There, we got another bolt proc. So you can see that bolt hitting for 38k. Pretty awesome, guys. And this is the gameplay loop, and this scales up to however many targets you want. So we'll just go over here and we'll fire off a few agonies to keep the farm going. I'll fire a seed over there, and then we'll get our stuff going back. We'll get these ones involved. We'll get our Unstable Corruption back up, build it back up to stacks, and then we'll just go to town. And you can see in the background, these are all getting extended by the dots I'm firing here. Here comes our buff, so we use Phantom Singularity. We're just gaming Nightfall procs now, and you can see how many I'm getting, and those are giving us free casts of Malefic Rapture. Boom, huge damage, back and forth. We can extend the buff if we want with our big guy, and just fire off giant bolts here. You don't have to be anywhere near these targets, and look, they still have greater than 10 seconds. We can just keep casting Malefic Raptures and fill with Shadowbolts on the main target. This is what I mean by a full funnel. This is exactly what funnel is about, and Affliction Warlock does it almost better than any other class because it has 2 forms of funnel, both the shards that you're getting from generating off of our agonies and also the Nightfall procs. This build, guys, is pretty awesome. I'm really enjoying testing it out here. I'm looking forward to seeing it in full action once I have access to my double legendaries, because I do think you want to have access to Decimating Bolt's huge damage amp. And here, just now, things are falling off. So that was probably about 45 seconds of farm on just the agonies alone. And you can see, obviously, the rapture damage is going to go up because we had so many extra targets that were pinging. But Shadowbolt is still way up here. This hit for some 17k. Here we had some 50k Shadowbolts, which is pretty awesome, guys. Again, as far as the covenants go, the main thing is that you have Withering Bolt. You don't need to be Bonesmith Hyremere. I'm doing it for Marrow Gemstone because we actually get access to it with our Necrolord Legendary, giving us free crits. So this pops up a little more often than usual. There might be some other options in there that are good. As far as stats go, I have completely wrong stats for what I'm looking at. I would suggest as much haste as you can get it to help our talent tick over corruptions, creeping death. This would be even more important single target. Of course, mastery is going to go up as we move into AoE. But then I think crit, guys, is actually the way to go. Even though we're getting free crits from the Decimating Bolts, we want to make these Shadow Bolts hit really hard. So crits also going to be pretty valuable for this build. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this. This is just a taste. I'll hopefully give you some footage of this once I have access to everything. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.